Hi guys, hi, how's it going? How you doing today? Hopefully today finds you well. Today I am doing a video that I've done before on my channel, but one that's been circulating again, and I wanted to jump on it because there's a lot that's changed, I feel like, in my makeup aesthetic. I think that some of the answers are the same, but I've tried a lot of new things since I did this video before, much like everybody else out there on the planet. And I have some new favorites, things that I keep pulling for in my collection, things that I want to talk about today. And that is the top 3 in every category. Now, the categories that I do not have here are going to be like eyeshadows, eyeshadow palettes, single eyeshadows, liquid eyeshadows, those kind of things. But I do have everything else up to and including full coverage foundation and skin tints, powder bronzers, liquid and cream bronzers, powder blushes, liquid and cream blushes, powder highlights, liquid and cream highlights, so on and so forth. Every product in my lipstick category is accounted for. So with that being said, there's a lot to go over today, so we're going to jump in. But for those of you new here today, hi, my name is Donna. I'm a lover of all things high-end colorful beauty, and I also work in the beauty industry as a field leader for Ulta. Get a lot of education in my position. I like to bring you all that education here on my channel. But truth be told, I just kind of like to talk about makeup, and you people are my people to talk about makeup with. Makeup is something that soothes my soul. I hope that you'll find that my channel soothes your soul at the same rate it soothes mine, and that you'll enjoy it so much that you'll want to give it a big thumbs up and you'll want to subscribe before you go. And with that said, let's jump into my top 3 items in every category in my collection right now. Let's be honest, there's a couple categories that I don't have here. And when I think about it through the lens of breaking each one of my categories down into what I have them broke down into on my spreadsheets, I didn't think it was fair to come to you with 50 different categories. So I just kind of tried to sum everything up, but there were some categories that I kind of went, multi-formal in. So let's start with face primers. I do think 2 of them might be repeats from my last, but that's okay. That tells you that these have weathered the storm, if you will. But one of my very favorites is the Veil Mineral Primer. It's oil-free and it's got SPF of 15 in it from Hourglass. This is one of those products that I was like, I'm never purchasing that. That's too damn expensive. And then they came to Ulta and I could get it on points. So I did. This is a super expensive primer, but it is beautiful. Everything that goes on top of this primer just looks amazing. When you first put it on, you're like, oh, it's kind of got this like blue tintness to it, and it kind of smells different but not offensive, and it kind of has like this drier texture to it, even though it's a liquid, which is weird. But other than that, there's like nothing fantastic about it. No matter what you put on top of this, in my humble opinion, this makes everything that goes on top of it look just seamless and beautiful. I love my makeup every single time. This is the primer for it. Truly, it's magical. The next one I have again, which is a repeat, I think, from the last time, is this Bobbi Brown Vitamin Enriched Face Base. This, you guys, just smells expensive. It smells like luxury citrus, like if an orange was worth $10,000. And it is so hydrating. And again, like the Hourglass product I just mentioned, every single time I put this on my face and then put makeup on top of it, everything just goes on top of it and it looks just so beautiful. And what I love about this product too is that it is so hydrating that I feel like after I take my makeup off for the day, I feel like I've actually done better things to my skin than, what you might typically feel like using any other primer and then a cleanser to wash it off and everything is squeaky clean. Like, my skin still feels hydrated at the end of the day after having this on. Truly, for the dry skin girls out there, this could be the saving grace for your skin. That one is also a pretty expensive primer. I cannot remember how much this costs, and I will be honest, this does not smell fantastic. My humble opinion, this smells like pencil shavings, but this is such a beautiful primer. This is the Yensa Color and Face Tone Up Primer. primer in Essential Glow. It's going to moisturize and prep your skin for makeup. It blurs imperfections and pores. It provides a brightening skin tone, and it's powered by 8 superfood essences, which means it's good for your skin in a nutshell. I just tried this over the last probably 8 months. This is such a beautiful primer. Let's rub it in. Just look at how glowy that made my skin. I think they should change the scent that's in this. I have an awful lot of days that I go without foundation. I would wear that on its own because it really does even out the skin tone on your face, kind of blur everything going on, and it's just so pretty as far as the glow that it gives your skin. And then we have eye primers, and my number one eye primer honestly is like 12 bucks. And that is the Ulta Beauty Matte Eye Primer. I opened the little mini of this up and tried it, and it was the only eye primer that I used for the longest time because it is just so good. The only thing I don't love about it is that while it does have a kind of a base that has some color to it, so it will blank out the color on your eye, you know, in terms of like any kind of like veininess or anything like that that you have on it. I don't love that that kind of goes away as you rub it in. There's not really a white base to it. I do like a white based primer for more vivid eye looks, more colorful eye looks, and this one doesn't really suit that bill. I wish they would make this in white. I did find a favorite white eye primer this last year as well, and that is the ABHI primer. Now, as far as I can tell, you can only get this in this size, and it's actually called a mini, but it is quite a bit larger than this little tiny samples that I was using. It's only $13, which is only $1 more than this. It's quite a bit smaller though, and it is white based, so any kind of poppy eyeshadow I want to put on top of this base is going to be that much more bright, which I love. You kind of have to get it buffed out rather quickly because it's a little bit more of a drier liquid, which I feel like sounds like an oxymoron, but if you know, you know. This has been compared often to the Urban Decay one. I don't think that this is at all like Urban Decay. I also don't think this is at all like Urban Decay. I think it's better. The Urban Decay one makes my eyeballs burn, so I can't use it very often. Frankly, I don't think it holds on to shadows as well as these two do, and my eyeshadows stay forever with either one of these eye primers. And then of course another go-to is the MAC paint pot. I do have the shade Painterly this time. I did have Soft Ochre the last time I got a paint pot, and I really think that I like Painterly a lot better. It just has a little bit more of a pinker tone to it. Soft Ochre has a little more of a yellow tone. And I found with Soft Ochre, which I feel like matches my skin tone better, it kind of muddied the colors that I was putting on top of it. Like maybe it made it a little bit more dingy, whereas this I feel like has a little bit more of a brightening effect to it. Now I do have like some honorable mentions here. The NYX Jumbo Eye Pencil in Milk is also a wonderful version of a white primer specifically for eyeshadows. It grips eyeshadows really well. But also the Smashbox 24-hour Photo Finish Shadow Primer. Now I won't have honorable mentions in everything, I promise you. But this one I picked up recently to try again because the last time I tried it was like 5 years ago, and I remember loving it. But I don't remember loving it for why. So I did pick it up. I do like it. It comes out like with kind of a color to it, but it's more clear as you like blend it out. It just becomes completely sheer. Holds on to eye makeup really well. It is what I've got on underneath my eye makeup today, and this is like my second video of the day, like 5 hours in. I wish it had a little bit of a pigmented base to it. Now I think last time I did this, I was like, I hate concealers, so I'm not going to talk about concealers. I hated concealer. I hated it. There was no reason for it. Nothing I have on my face is, you know, horrible enough that I need a separate product to cover it. And also those products made me look like I was 900 years old. These just don't. And immediately when I was making this list, I put concealer and I was like, oh, I know which ones I'm bringing in. I have the Kosas Revealer Concealer, and I have the shade 3.20. It's got a little bit of an olivey golden complexion to it, and it actually just makes my under eyes look so beautiful, and it doesn't like sink into all the fine lines and everything that I've maybe got on my eyes. Like, it's just a beautiful concealer. Then I have the Dior Backstage Flash Perfector Concealer, and I have the shade 2N. This one is pretty much my skin tone. What I love about this one is the brush. It makes it so nice to apply. It is really just my perfect match to my skin tone. And then I have the LYS Triple Fix Full Coverage Brightening Concealer. And I do have this one in MN1. This one again is like what I would say is my perfect skin match. Does have a little bit more of a like a peachier tone to it, because it's meant to also brighten. But you guys can see like all three of those are almost pretty much the same shade. I do think this one down on the bottom is probably the lightest and the most like green in tone. But the other two are very similar in shade to that one, just maybe a little bit more pinky tone. All three of these are beautiful. I can do such great things with all three of these and never have to worry about whether they've fallen into the cracks and crevices on my face, which is good as a, you know, woman in her 40s. Like, you need a product that you can trust, and I trust all three of those concealers, which is saying a lot coming from me. And I have to be honest with you, there's only 2 powders in my collection. I could not tell you a third one. The fact that I can tell you one is great because I'm also not a powder girl. But one that I think might have, I don't even think that this was in my last one because I tried it after Samantha March harped and harped and harped about it for eons, but it is the Dior The Powder No Powder, and I am in the shade 3N, which is the neutral shade. It does look really dark, but I think that this powder is beautiful, and there is some kind of magic that happens with this powder. When you put it on your face, it just airbrushes everything. So Dior is a brand that I got real familiar with in the last year, and I fell in love with so many products from Dior. Their base products are fantastic. Other one that I fell in love with this year, as a matter of fact, just recently through my Shop My Stash series, is this. And this is the By Terry Hyaluronic Hydra Powder. This is a loose powder, you guys. I am not a powder person, period, but I am least of all a loose powder person. My friend Anna raves about this powder, and I got it in my lucky bag this last January, and I hadn't opened it yet. I decided to put it into my Shop My Stash. So I don't always put a powder in my Shop My Stash. I want to get rid of one more powder, so I've been putting powders in to try and dwindle it down to the one that I'm gonna get rid of. This one will not be the one that I get rid of. My friend Anna gave me very specific instructions on how to use this powder and love it. And I love it. I especially love this underneath my eyes because it just blurs out everything and kind of brings my under eyes to life in a way that I could never explain because it's a powder and I don't wear powders. I would consider repurchasing it when this is gone. However, it'll probably take me 900 years. That probably will still be in my collection when I am deceased, so there's that. These are the 3 foundations that I picked to put in here as my favorite fuller coverage foundations. This one was mentioned, I do believe, the last time I did this video, and this is the Urban Decay Stay Naked Weightless Liquid Foundation, and it's got up to a 24-hour wear, which I think is freaking hilarious because I don't know anybody who's wearing their foundation for 24 hours. With that said, I also do not think that this lasts 24 hours. I think it lasts a damn long time. That much I will tell you. I am in the shade 31NN, and this is just a beautiful foundation. You guys, when we were introduced to this foundation, we actually had somebody come into our stores and they gave us some education on this foundation. And the person that came in and did it had us put our shade of foundation on our hands. And then we were just to leave it alone. 40 minutes later, when the class was done, she asked us to wash it off of our hands with just water and soap. It went 0 places. It went absolutely nowhere. I was astounded. At the end of the day, this comes off really, really well with makeup remover, but it pretty much goes absolutely nowhere with sweat, with water and soap even. So if you're sprayed in the face with soap, it's not going to go anywhere. Like, it is a beautiful foundation. This is wonderful during times of the year where you maybe have a lot of sweat, or so summer, or during times of the year where you need something that's going to last for flippin' ever, because this will do it for you. And you want full coverage. That's it. That's your beat. The next one I put in here was the Natasha Denona Foundation X. This is considered full coverage foundation. I think that you can get a really beautiful medium coverage out of this, and you can build it to a really beautiful full coverage. I love this foundation because no matter how I wear it, whether it's fuller coverage or medium coverage, or even sheer it out a little bit more with like a different kind of application process, it looks beautiful. And I feel like my skin feels better after the fact. It doesn't feel heavy. It doesn't feel like it's leaning into the cracks and crevices on my old ass face. I also feel like it's a very breathable formula. It's a fuller coverage foundation that doesn't really feel full coverage, doesn't like the heaviness. This is just a little bit of the heaviness you're feeling. With this one, you feel absolutely no heaviness. And the last one that I have here is actually a one that's newer to me. Number one, I got it in gratis at FLC, but also newer that I've tried. This is the first month. September was the first month that I actually tried it. And it's the NARS Light Reflecting. You guys, this is so pretty. This is what's on my face today. This is just pretty. It's such a pretty foundation. This wears away, but wears away beautifully, and wears away in a way that you can't really tell that it's missing from my face. It's also really breathable, really buildable, really moves with the skin on your face versus against the skin on your face. I don't feel like it's creeped up into any of the fine lines and wrinkles that I have even around like my eye area or in my 11s here on my forehead. It's just a really beautiful foundation. This is in the shade Punjab, if I remember correctly. It's so pretty, and I don't feel like it oxidizes, and that's one thing I would say for all three of these. So then when I talk through skin tints, I had somebody ask a question about skin tints that I would suggest if it weren't Fenty, because I have several, so I'm really glad that you asked the question. Thank you so much for asking that question. I have a couple here for you. And if you don't love these, let me know in the comment section, and I will tell you some other ones that I really, really love. So Fenty, I've talked about it ad nauseum on my channel. I love the Fenty Ease Drops. They're just so beautiful. They have a really light to medium coverage. I think honestly, when I think about it like true tea, I don't know that you're getting a medium coverage out of this, but it is beautiful, and it goes onto your skin in such a beautiful way that it almost looks like it could be a fuller coverage foundation that you have on your face, but it's definitely not. You can see your freckles through it. You can see like any kind of like redness that you might have peeking through. If you are not into skin tints, these next three are not going to be for you, but this one is one that I swear by. I'm not going to spend too long on it. The other two that I swear by are these two. This one is rather new to me. This is the IT Cosmetics Your Skin But Better CC Plus Nude Glow Color Correcting Medium Coverage Skin Tint is what it says. I do not think that this is medium coverage by any means. I think that this also is not nearly the heaviness or the consistency of what you would think it is because you've tried the other IT Cosmetics CC creams. I hate the other IT Cosmetics CC creams. I think that they're too moussey, they're too thick, and they look very makeup-y on your skin. This one just gives you such a beautiful, healthy glow to your skin. Not see me from the moon, not beaming, not glittery. Healthy glow to your skin, and gives you a really nice, higher level skin tinted coverage. It is so pretty on the skin, and I was actually pretty shocked by it. I don't love IT Cosmetics as a whole. Like almost everything I've tried, I've not loved. The last one that I'll talk about in the skin tint category that's a true skin tint is the Dior face and body, the Dior Backstage face and body. I have the shade 3N. I wore this all through my trip in Texas because this is just truly, this is a skin tint that goes nowhere, that transfers not, that is just truly beautiful, breathable with your skin, moves with your skin, but yet perfects your skin in a way that I cannot explain. It is so, so pretty on the skin, and it's just like your skin but better. Like truly your skin but better. I had so many compliments on my skin while I was using this that whole week while I was in Texas, but also every single time I wear it. I hate the apparatus for it, mostly because this is kind of a harder bottle and it's a little stiffer to squeeze, but I love this skin tint. It is so, so pretty. And then my honorable mention, and the reason why I'm putting it as an honorable mention is because I think a lot of people think that this is a skin tint because it says it's the Hydromaniac Tinted Glow Hydrator, but this is truly a medium coverage foundation. It's a lighter medium coverage foundation. I have the shade 41 light medium, beautiful medium coverage foundation. A dabble do you, it spreads beautifully all over your face. It just looks so natural as it wears away. I don't think that this is very buildable, but I do think that this you could get a sheer coverage out of if you wanted to, which is why I put it in honorable mention, because I think it could, you know, be a skin tint or a medium coverage foundation depending on what you need from it. I truly have 3 contour products that I absolutely love, that I use all the time when I'm contouring. It's going to be one of these 3 guys. I have the Makeup by Mario Sculpt Stick, and I am in the shade light medium. I have the Fenty Match Stick in amber, and I have the Natasha Denona contour sculpting powders. This is the contour sculpting powder. It's just the perfect grayish brown tone. I think it's just a really perfect powder for my skin. It just looks so natural on the skin, and the powder is so finely milled that you can't tell the difference between where it is and where the actual skin is. And then these 2 guys here, I do think that the Amber Matchstick by Fenty is my favorite. If I had to pick one, this one would be my favorite. And the only reason why is because I think that the Makeup by Mario one is just slightly more warm toned than the Fenty one. Now they do have another one in these matchsticks called Light Amber, I do believe, and I believe that one is a little bit more on the Makeup by Mario side. And you know, I've checked the Makeup by Mario and I don't think that there's an exact tone like the Fenty one that I love. I'll work with whatever as long as it's kind of got a little bit more of a taupey or a gray base to it, and I feel like the Makeup by Mario one has got that. It's just not necessarily my favorite overall tone. Then when we're talking bronzers, so as far as powder ones go, first and foremost, I have just a mini of the Bare Minerals bronzer in Warmth. And I remember when I first started out in makeup, I had this loose. And I thought it was really kind of almost red in the loose version. But I ended up getting this mini from my Bare Minerals brand partner, and I fell in love with it and just decided that this was the only way that I was going to buy that bronzer ever again. It's just because it's got a little less redness to it and a lot more like bronziness to it. I love this so much that I bought another mini, or got another mini, and I put it into my giveaway that went on during September. It's the Too Faced Chocolate Soleil, you guys. Mine is so old. Look at this packaging, it is so old. This I used so much right after getting it that you can see the rings at the bottom of the pan. So I know that this is probably not long for this world. But what I love most about this bronzer is that it can double team in my collection as also a contour. I'm sure that you can see it. It's just a beautiful bronzer also on my skin. This one is also, don't get me wrong, but there's like a whole slew of shade range that you could have with bronzer. I also have this one, which is the LYS No Limits bronzer in Motivate, which is their lightest shade. And when I first picked this up, I was like, oh my God, that is so yellow. I don't know that I'm going to love it. But man, this quite possibly was my favorite bronzer of the year. And I think that you can see that it's pretty yellow tone. I mean, when you put it up against my face, it's almost the same color as my face. This just looks so beautiful on my skin. It's very finely milled. There's no patchiness as it pertains to this. It's just so silky to the touch, so silky going onto the skin. And I just think I could not ever, not one time ever, go overboard with this bronzer on my face. And when I think through the terms of cream, these are the three that I pulled. So I think that you probably would have guessed maybe all three of these, who knows. The Charlotte Tilbury one, I did pull this into a Shop My Stash for the month of August. And I used it so dang much that the swirl and the lettering on this part of the imprint are gone. Like, I love this bronzer. It is so pretty and it goes on the skin so nicely. You really don't even have to work to make this work for your skin. You just put it on, you kind of blend it out a little bit, and it looks just so sun-kissed and natural. It is an expensive bronzer, but I think that it's well worth it. And there are so many ounces of product in here. 0.74 ounces of product in here. That is a lot. That is 21 grams of product in here. This will probably go bad before I use it all. I hope not, but it probably will. I am in the shade 2 medium in here. The Chanel Le Beige cream blah 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 Chanel cream bronzer. I got this when I went to go support one of my peers. I do not have Chanel in any of my stores, but she had Chanel in 3 of hers. So I was like, I have to get this before I leave. This bronzer, again, I brought in and then I put into my Shop My Stash. And it reminds me a lot of the one by LYS. It is a little bit more on the yellow tone side, but for whatever reason, I think yellow tone bronzers look so good on my skin. Like, what is that? This goes on, it feels silky to the touch, it feels silky going onto your skin, and it just blends effortlessly into your skin. And much like the Charlotte Tilbury one, which is right here, it looks natural. It looks like your skin is just sun-kissed. It's quite a bit more creamy than this one is, and this one does go onto your skin and I feel like dry down to much like a powder kind of formula, whereas this one I think stays kind of creamy, but not tacky creamy. And then the last one is this one. This is the NARS Laguna Bronzing Cream in Laguna 03. I do think that I maybe got this one a shade darker than I needed to, but I mean, I think that you guys can tell. But this guy actually honestly blends out really pretty perfectly for how dark it is. You guys can see, like, I can blend it, and it just looks so pretty. It just looks so pretty. For as dark as it is in that contraption and as dark as the swatch was, I feel like it's so pretty and so beautiful on my skin. I do have it on my skin today, in addition to another cream bronzer that I brought into my collection within the last couple months. And I am wearing this as a contour, and I feel like it actually looks really nice. It didn't take me any effort at all to blend it out. I mean, like, legitimately put it on and then pat, and it was blended out. I'm like, okay. But that's how it has been for the month that I've been using it. I don't have another cream bronzer that I am always pulling for ever. All right, so then I have powder blushes, and for powder blushes, I have the Pat McGrath Labs blush that I think they came out with blushes about this time last year, I want to say. This one is in Flirtatious. Honestly, this is my favorite of the 3 that I have, but also, like, these blushes are just so beautiful and pigmented, and I know that you can't really see it, but I mean, look at it. It's a real muted pink tone. This is it on my hand. It is so pretty. It's really pretty on my cheeks. I would have never thought, I don't know honestly what possessed me to get this shade, because this is not typically the shade that I go after. But also just the sheer like luminosity of this. It's a matte blush, but it is so pretty. It just looks like you're flushed. That's it. That's all it looks like. It's just like a flush of color. I also really love this Everlasting blush by KVD in the shade Rosebud. Now this one is a wee bit deeper of a tone, but basically the same like color family, if I'm honest. Really pretty, so super silky, no patchiness with either one of these. No difficulty blending either one of these. They just go on so beautifully onto the skin and they just look amazing. And honestly, this one also, the packaging, come on now, it's gorgeous. And then I was late to the game, really late to the game, but I just purchased another one of these because there isn't often a blush that I come upon that I really truly love enough to have all of them in the group. But these three, I will tell you, I want all of them in the group. This one luckily only has 3. This one is the Bare Minerals Bronzer, and this one is in the shade Kiss of Copper. This falls into that coral toned blush mindset, and this one is very like terracotta, but as you blend it out, like the glowiness, the beauty of it, like how pretty is that blush? And there are 3 completely different blush tones. I just recently bought Kiss of Pink also in this, and I cannot wait to get that on to my face because I love this one so much. I am not one typically for a glowy blush, but these 3, all 3, just kind of bring this beautiful luminosity to the cheeks that makes you look radiant, makes you look naturally and beautifully flushed in your on your cheeks. I just really love all 3 of these. They're just so beautiful, and I would purchase all of them in those collections if given the opportunity to do so. And then I have 3 cream blushes also to share with you. So first and foremost, this is the LYS High Standard Satin Matte Cream Blush in Kindness. This one is the kind of like corally, pinky corally tone one. So cream blushes, you know, you have to warm up really nicely in on your finger with your beauty blender or however you do it. I don't find this one to have that problem, to be honest. It works rather well right off the bat, and then just on blend it just goes on so nicely. It blends super easily, which I can't say for all of my cream blushes. And this one also lasts for dang ever, and that's one thing that has to be a factor for me when it comes to cream blushes. Blushes have to last on me. This one lasts. The next one I have is the Tower 28 Power Hour blush in Beach Please. This one is a deeper terracotta, and this one also, I don't feel like you have to warm up. I feel like it's ready to go. It's super creamy. I find that this one is more of like a summer color for me. During the winter it looks kind of ghastly, but beautiful blush. And as long as I don't like go straight in with my finger and dip it on my face, I typically like to use this one with a sponge. It doesn't look, it's not this, you know, deep on my face, but I love the tone of this blush. This blush for me is about the tone. It just, I don't know, it complements my high cheekbones and any kind of like bronzing or even contour that I might be doing. It's really good for blush draping. And this is also a blush, a cream blush specifically, that will last forever on my skin. And then the last one I have for cream blush is this Patrick Ta Duo, and this one is in Oh She's Different. And this was my first cream blush love. This shade is more on the rosy side. This is it. It looks much like a sunburn almost. It is just so pretty and blends out so nicely. And if you do it in the way that Patrick Ta wants you to do it, which is put down the powder, then put down the cream, it is much more vibrant, but I really just love this tone, period. I honestly, I don't know if you guys can see, but I haven't really even dipped into that powder. I think I've used the powder like 3 times tops. The cream is where it's at for me. Much like these two, it's ready to go. I don't have to warm it up a whole hell of a lot in my hand. It works well with my fingers. It works well with a sponge. It works well with a brush. I like using a sponge with my cream products more so than others, but it also lasts forever. It was the first cream blush that I had ever used that lasts the length of time that it lasted. Typically powder and cream blushes just disappear off of my face. My skin is so dry and maybe even a little bit dehydrated that it just kind of sucks up everything that gets on it. Like right now, I don't think that you can tell that I'm even wearing a blush, to be honest, except for maybe right in this area where I haven't really even put blush, just kind of remnants as I pop my brush over the top of my nose. But all of these blushes stay on my skin forever, and you can tell that I'm wearing them when they're on my skin. Okay, moving into highlighters. I have 3 powder highlighters and 3 liquid or cream highlighters for you. First and foremost, this should not be a surprise if you're familiar with my channel, but the Fenty Kilowatt highlighters are one of my favorite forms of highlight. I think that they are beautiful. They can be see me from the moon. They can be a little bit more natural. They can be, you know, buffed on with a brush. You can put them on your finger and tap them onto your skin. They also do not exacerbate any kind of texture that you have. It's just a really smooth, silky formula. And this one, I actually have pan in on this side, and I don't know that you guys can see that, but it's because I just love this formula so much. The fact is that her duos are where it's at because you get a See Me From the Moon highlight, and then you get a little bit more of a subtle highlight for days that you just don't want that See Me From the Moon. And speaking of See Me From the Moon highlights, these Ofra highlights, oh my god, Ofra highlights are the bee's knees, and my favorite is honestly this one here in the second in the middle, which is Pillow Talk. I have this also in a full-size form, but I won't get rid of it because this is my favorite. This palette is just so easy to take with me anywhere. I pulled out this because the full-size version I have of this I haven't even used, because this I still have in my collection, right? But this highlight is just See Me From the Moon crazy. But it is a beautiful, like, pinky highlight that you can buff out. It's also a highlight that doesn't really exacerbate texture. It doesn't sink into your fine lines where you're, you know, putting it on. It's just so beautiful and goes across the skin beautifully. I just realized I didn't, like, swatch this for you, so I'm going to swatch both sides of this guy for you as also, so that you guys can see the differences. So this one's the See Me From the Moon side, and this one is the more subtle side of the Fenty one. This is the Charlotte Tilbury Film Star Bronze and Glow. And when I first looked at this highlight, I was like, that's a white powder. That's not a highlight. That's not going to do anything for you. When you put it on your finger, it's the same. It looks like it looks like a powder. While I understand that there are people out there that take white powder and put it on their face and call it a highlight, I am not that girl. I like it to be glowy. And when I pick this up on my finger, this is the highlight. Guys, look at how beautiful that is. It is so pretty, and it is also, like, just surprising. It's just surprising. It's got this really beautiful glow to it. You can't even, like, looking at my skin, you can't even tell that there's powder on my skin right there. I was shocked by this highlight, and it very quickly became one of my favorites. And this is also another thing that Anna talked me into, because if she had not come onto her channel and used this and I did not see it on her, then I wouldn't know that it was the way it was. So I got it in my lucky bag, and it had sat in my backups until I watched Anna put it on her face, and I was like, I'm gonna try that. And, you know, it's become one of my favorites. It's silky, finely milled, beautiful, and looks just so natural on the skin, but also glowy. And as far as a liquid or cream highlight goes, you You know what, you guys? I picked some out, but I have to be honest with you. I'm not even going to talk about them because I don't honestly love them. So let's move right into brows. And the 3 products that I have for brows are these guys here. One being the Benefit Cosmetics Precisely My Brow. It's my favorite brow pencil. It's got a really nice fine tip. The spoolie is really nice as well. My favorite shade is gray because it's super cool tone. It gets the job done. And it doesn't look silly with my Vivids in my hair. Maybe my first favorite brow product, honestly, is the 24-hour brow setter, also from Benefit Cosmetics. I specifically love the wand in this because it is flat, yet it has like stuff all around it, like the little spikies all around it to be able to get the product into your brows in a way that makes sense, but you can also flip it on end and get, you know, the tail real thin or the beginnings of your brows. Also really great, holds my brows up without weighing them down, and does so in a way that I don't feel like I have to recheck it often. And then last on that list would be any of the KVD Super Brow Pomades. These are amazing, and I specifically love them because they're different colored. Like, I love using them. They're a multi-use product in my collection. I like using them as eyeliners as well as brow products. As a matter of fact, I'm wearing the green one today as a liquid liner. They're just amazing, amazing products, and they stay forever. They're like sweat proof and waterproof and like everything proof, life proof. So they stay for a very long time. And last, we're going to go into lips. So as far as lip liners go, Buxom Plump Liners, the biggest reason why I love these is because the pencil is super fat. So it doesn't take much for you to line your lips and also fill in your lips if you're that kind of person. But also because these are as big as they are, I don't go through them nearly as quickly as I would say these guys or these guys. And they're kind of roughly middle of the road price point. I think these were $18 a piece, and I have several of them. I think I have 5 in my collection. They've got great pigmentation, great longevity. They're fat, so I can fill in my lips all at the same time. And they also have this little like lip brush on the other side to help with marrying your gloss or your lipstick with the lip liner, which I found was just really convenient. The Charlotte Tilbury lip cheat. Listen, I tried the lip cheat for the first time with a like little sample kit that I got from Sephora for I think a birthday gift or something like that. And the one I got was Peloton, and I didn't wholeheartedly love the shade, if I'm honest, but I did love the formula. So then I had been hearing all these stories about iconic nude, iconic nude, iconic nude. So I bought one. I love this shade. I love the formula. It lasts forever. It is on my lips today. And while this is creamy, so it takes a bit, you know, I mean, I feel like a lot comes out. I feel like I'm sharpening it every single time I use it because I fill in my lips. I use a lot every single time I use it, but it's still slow going and it lasts forever. Like, I can count on this lip liner being on my lips even after I've eaten and drank stuff and, you know, talked all day long. This lip liner is still kicking. So, and then the really, really cheap one, but I feel the same way about it as I feel about the iconic nude, is the ColourPop one. These guys are super creamy also. I love them so, so much. They go on my lips so, so well. They don't skip or pull or tug or any of that kind of stuff, which I find super important for a lip liner. And they last forever. Well, I think that this one and this one lasts longer than this one does. This one also lasts a decently long time, and they're only like $6 or $8, something like that. So you can't really bitch about them, to be honest. As far as lip glosses go, I have Buxom lip glosses are bar none my favorite. Thicker, plumpier lip gloss. What I would say about them is that they last for a decent amount of time, just not like a long time. I have a full-on lip polish here and a full-on lip cream here. I like the creams better for longevity, and the polishes, there's also another kind that they have too. The polish is better for shine. I will say that neither one of them lasts super, super long. They are called plumping glosses, right? Full on plumping lip polish, full on plumping lip cream. I don't feel like they plump at all. But they do have a nice little minty scent to them that makes you feel like they're maybe doing something on your lips when they maybe aren't. But they're just so pretty and they're comfortable, and they don't cause, you know, the strindles that you can get between your lips when you're talking, if you're talking too much and you're wearing a gloss. I just really love these lip glosses. These are just two of the many that I have in my collection. These also are just two of the many that I have in my collection. This is Sweet Mouth and Fenty Glow in the Fenty Gloss Bombs. I love these. Here's what I can say about these. I hated these when I first tried them because they smell like cherries. And to me, cherries smells like cough syrup. And immediately I was like, bleh, cough syrup. They are amazing. They're so glossy, so beautiful, and they make your lips look bigger no matter which color you're wearing, which shocks me. I haven't tried her cream formula yet. I do have one in my drawers, so I can't really speak on those, or her fire or her ice ones. I haven't tried those, but I love the gloss bombs. Everybody on the planet does. And lastly is the Lunar Beauty glosses. I actually have this as a backup. This very gloss as a backup in my backups because I cannot for 1 second live without this gloss. It smells like birthday cake, and it is one of the longest lasting glosses I have in my collection, and by far the most comfortable gloss formula that I have in my collection for as long lasting as it is. It is gorgeous. It's beautiful. Now, I do not have liquid lipsticks here because I don't love liquid lipsticks, and if you're not new to my channel, you know that. But I do have some lipstick formulas that I would like to talk about. First being Clinique. Clinique has got some really great lipstick formulas. I would stay away from the hydrating one with the hydrating core. I hate that one. It's awful and it's a damn mess. But this one is the Clinique Even Better Pop, and this is in the shade Mink. And I love this shade. This is the perfect fall lip color for me. And it's just so smooth and creamy, and it goes absolutely nowhere. It stays on my lips. I don't feel like I'm having to reapply it 1,500 times. These ones are their Color Splash Pops, and these aren't bad either. These come in the little holiday kits. Clinique Pop Matte is what it's called. This one feels a lot more hydrating. I have to be honest too, this one is a matte, but it's like a juicy matte, whereas this one is like straight up matte, and I think that you can tell the difference between the two. I do love Clinique lipsticks. I think that they're a super comfortable lipstick formula. I don't know what's going on with this makeup brand, but I'm telling you, in terms of this brand, if you find yourself in a place where you're trying to find something from this brand, his lipsticks and his eyeliners, bar none, best out there. Like, his lipsticks are so creamy. This one is in the shade Role Play, and I think that, you know, when I think of lipsticks, like, they have to do a couple things. Number one, they can't move all over my face. Number two, they have to be hydrating and not sink into the dryness in my lips, because I don't want to feel like I have to like reapply it 500 times for my lips to look awesome. Number three, they can't give me, you know, where it looks like you've got like this white ring around your, yeah, they can't do that. They have to make my lips feel better after taking it off than they did pretty much before putting them on. And I feel like these lipsticks do. They're hydrating enough that they look glossy and moussey almost, but not so glossy and moussey that they move all over the place like a gloss does. It's just such a beautiful, beautiful lipstick. The last lipstick formula that I will tell you would be on my top is Charlotte Tilbury lipsticks. I don't know what kind this is, but this one is in the shade Very Victoria, and this shade is just, number one, the shade is gorgeous. It looks like perfection on me. It goes with my skin tone so well. I don't love the shade of Pillow Talk, but I loved the formula, so I researched and found a shade that I thought would go well with my kind of like golden olive skin tone, and this one actually is my perfect nude. I love this shade so much, and I love this lipstick so much. It is probably the most long-lasting lipstick I have in my collection for a bullet, and that pleases me. It's also like just super comfortable, and I don't know, I just love it. With that said, those are the top 3 in every category in my collection, almost, but what I would purchase over and over again if I needed to repurchase anything in my collection, these are the items that I would go for, or they're sisters. Like I purchased multiple of them because I love the formula so dang much, and I love the product so dang much. So I am happy to have done this video. I hope that you guys enjoyed it, and I hope that you learned from it. If you have any questions, please let me know down in the comment section. I would love for you guys to hit me up down there. I have such a great time having conversations with you guys down in the comment section, so please hit me up. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed the video, and I hope that if you did, you're going to give it a thumbs up. I hope that you'll also subscribe before you go. Have an awesome day. Have an awesome month. Love each other, but love each other from afar. And until next time, bye friends.